He has to turn my mic on before I start talking. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Treasures. My name's Tracy, and I am here with my husband, Noel. Good morning, mamas. Hello, everybody. Extending Grace. I saw Southern Charm. And Rachel, hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday morning. Um, it's a great day, isn't it? I have a lot to talk about today. It's 6 a.m. where you are. My goodness gracious. That is early. Good morning, Daisy. So, couple of upcoming things we're going to talk about. Repurpose. Hello. Are you going to say good morning? Mama's is saying good morning to you.
I'm sorry, I was getting the YouTube ready. Good morning, everybody.
All right. We have some stuff to talk about today. Besides our topics, I've just got a couple of recaps, but talk about a little bit of upcoming things. So first of all, I want to talk about our raid train tomorrow. We have a What's in Your Mug raid train that is tomorrow morning. I'm going to go over the list of sellers in just a second. I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is fun. I've never seen this concept on Whatnot before. Doesn't mean it's never been done. I've just never seen it. We're going to have a morning. It's just a Saturday morning. So you can get up, have a lazy Saturday morning, drink some coffee, watch the raid train. We have cross-category sellers. So sellers from probably, I think we have about 4 different categories represented. A little vintage heavy, but about 4 different categories. And each seller has 15 minutes. And within their 15 minutes, they have to have a mug with something in it. It could be anything they could fit or use that mug in a creative way. And then they have to sell that. So you're going to get whatever's in the mug, and they have to show you. It can't be a surprise. We're not getting into any of like the surprise sets or anything like that. So they're going to be selling mugs and stuff in the mugs. And each seller has to bring 3 mugs, and then the rest of their time they're going to sell their normal items. So I don't like, good morning to Bird Theory. I didn't like to make it too heavy where like it's, hey, 15 minutes, all you could do is mugs. Just 3, just enough to have a little creativity and fun with it. And it's going to be a great time. I went and bought some mugs. I have a lot of mugs at home I'm trying to get rid of, but then I went and bought more just for this train. So you know how that goes. All right, let me tell you who's on here because the lineup is fire, you guys. The lineup for tomorrow, we have some newer people. We have some OGs. We have a really good mix. So we have, I'm going to kick it off at 7:40. I'm going to go into, I'm sorry, Mother. Okay, I'm going to go into Southern Charm. After Southern Charm, we're going to go see a Monster Mama, and then Extending Grace Shop, The Woven Basket, What Liz Likes, The Bird Theory. And if you guys are in here, feel free, throw some emojis in the chat, let people know what time you're on. Miss B, Kimmy D86, Nest and Vine Co., A Reworker's Passion, Blasian Bunny, and we're going to end it with Crystal's Vintage Collection before it comes back to me. I'm not going to go through all the times, but it starts at 7:40. 8 a.m. is Southern Charm. Then every 15 minutes, we're going to be going to somebody new. And there are quite a few of these names that were also on the new seller surge in the past 8 months at some point in time. So it's really as a conductor of raid trains, a few, not a lot. I'm not as experienced as CG Boomerang Echo, but for the few raid trains that I do, it's really like makes me feel good to see people who are on one of the trains, especially a new seller one, kind of move on, and now they're coming on to other trains and doing other things. I think that's really cool. And probably the newest one, and this is just somebody I want you to, they're all great. There's not one that's better than the other. They're all wonderful people. But I want you to pay attention to Miss B. Miss B was on my new seller surge 2 months ago. And you know, every now and then you come across somebody that you just click with, or you see somebody and you're like, they're going somewhere. This was her. She was on the new seller surge about 2 months ago, and she just stuck out as, you know what, this girl is going somewhere. So when I was putting this raid train together, she was one of the first people that came to my mind. I'm like, I've got to invite her back because she was really good. But I just had to like mention her because it was so fresh. She was on the new seller surge, and she is probably the newest seller out of all of them. However, we have some of your favorites. Yes, my love, what are you saying?
For those of you on YouTube, you can follow the QR code and come join us on the Whatnot app. This is a discussion about business and taxes and other things on the Whatnot app. Come join us.
All right, I'm trying to tag her. Let's see. So, why can't I get her in here? There she is, right there. Let me tag her.
Good morning, Miss Stephanie. and YouTube.
But we have some OGs, Southern Charm, who is in just about every single one of my shows. She is one of my besties on here. She's going to be on there. And then, of course, we have a Reworkers Passion. If you don't know Leslie, I mean, everybody knows Leslie, Reworkers Passion. Blasian Bunny, I just got to be on her show, her Ray Train last week. And we have the Woven Basket, Extending Gray Shop. And if I'm not saying your name again, it's not because I don't like you. It's just because there's so many here. There are 12 sellers. The Bird Theory, who's in the chat right now. Just so many great people. You guys, you don't want to miss this one. It's 15 minutes. It's going to be fast, but it's going to be fun. And I can't wait to see what they come up with. I had a couple of questions. Can we use a teacup? Doesn't have to be a mug. Can it be this? And I'm like, it is up to you. It is so open for interpretation for all of the sellers to be creative and have fun with it. So I'm super excited about it. And that's tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow afternoon, well, thank you for being on it. I appreciate it. Tomorrow afternoon is my primitive show. I do primitive about every 6 weeks or so. And I have pre-listed, which isn't something that I have been doing. I've been really heavy on random polls. I'm going back to doing a little more pre-listing as much as we can. I'm kind of playing with it because honestly, it takes a lot of time and I don't have a lot of time. So we're playing with it to see how that works. But I do have, for my show tomorrow, all my primitive is pre-listed. So it's up there for pre-bids. I have 70 something items that I'm bringing you tomorrow. So check that out if primitive is your thing. And then before we talk about this last point of something coming up, I want to talk about what I did last night. This was so cool. I had the honor last night of being co-hosted on Coastal Peacock Co.'s chat show. Coastal Peacock Co., along with, I wrote all the names down so I wouldn't forget anybody, Tripod Checkmarks and Forgotten Memories. If you could tag them, people, that'd be great, honey. These three people have come together and created what's called Watering the Seeds. They do raid trains. It is, and I'm sure I'm not going to do it justice. Thank you so much. Good grief, thank you. Watering the Seeds is it's a collaboration of these three sellers to support other sellers in the community, but not just other sellers, like newer sellers in particular, and really watering the seeds, spreading the growth, helping each other out. And I love that mission. I love that this is what they're doing. It's not all about them. Do they get benefit out of it? Of course, there's recognition. There's, they get it in front of the camera more often, but it's really about growing this. And not only are they doing this on Whatnot, they've expanded to like all the other social platforms that they're bringing this to. And Coastal Peacock is the one who mainly hosts every Thursday evening. Their chat show is 9 o'clock my time, which is Eastern. So if you're in a different time zone, it'd be a little bit earlier. And it's just wonderful. And they have different guests that they bring on. So we got to go on last night, and it wasn't all about tax and accounting, which was wonderful. I mean, that was lovely to me. I got asked some really good questions, and it made me think. And there was one thing. We talked a little bit about like, what's your favorite show and how do you learn things as a new seller? And I talked about chat shows. And I said, my absolute favorite is going to chat shows, because even if you sit there and you tune most of it out, if you just try just a tiny bit, just give it a tenth of your attention, there is always something you can gain from a chat show. It may not, all of it, you can listen to a whole thing and most of it be like, yeah, I know it. But if you're listening, there's always one little nugget that you could take away, either just as food for thought to give you something to ponder on, or some bright idea or some tip or trick. And that's why I love the chat show so much. Even with some people that I may not agree with a lot of their perspectives, it's still really good to hear, because maybe they're going to say something to make me think about something different. And last night, while I was on their chat show as a co-host, I was still listening. Oh, thank you. Well, Crow's Cottage, I am glad you're here. Thank you for being here. And yes, all chat shows, you can gain something. You can gain a little wisdom from anything. And last night, while I was listening to Coastal Peacock and Tripod Talk and just different people in the chat, we were talking about the use of emojis. And you guys have been here for a while. I've never really had an emoji that I've pushed. I've never really talked about one. I don't hey, do this in the chat, do this, do that. I ask questions and try to encourage conversation, but I've never really done the emojis. I enjoy it when other people do it, and I can tell you, Reworkers Passion is a soap emoji. Southern Charm is the butterfly emoji. Green 13 is the green heart emoji. I Love Discounts is bunnies. And so it really is this good symbolism to help tie you and your brand. And we talked about how emojis are like silent marketing or silent promotion. You don't go into a room when you raid and be like, hey, I'm here. Guess what? I raided you. Look at me. Recognize me. But if you put emojis in there, it's kind of like a silent promotion. It's kind of like, hey, we've come into the room. Hello, hello, So I like it. The thing I'm going to take away, my little nugget that I'm taking away from Coastal Peacock last night is using emojis. So we are officially announcing the duck as our emoji, which I'm really excited about. Just, something new, something different. So from now on, we are doing duck emojis. I'm going to jump on this emoji train after our conversation last night. And, I've thought about it before, and it's just always been like, okay. But then the little nugget that I picked up from them last night, thank you guys, the little nugget I picked up from them last night got me thinking. And, I went to bed, and as usual, we're laying in bed talking and chatting. And I'm like, we should really do this. This seems to be a good thing. So that's what we're doing. I just thought it was kind of cool. And thank you to Coastal Peacock, Watering the Seeds group, which is Tripod, Check Marks, and Forgotten Memories. So it's those three together doing this Watering the Seeds. I definitely would recommend go check them out and look at Watering the Seeds. It's really from the heart type of thing that they're doing. All right, seller support. The Austin Whatnot Seller Support Summit. Is it the Seller Support Summit or just the Seller Summit? Okay, Whatnot Seller Summit in Austin, April 25th. We talked about it a little bit last week, and I was like, no, I don't think we're going. After a ton of back and forth and a whole bunch of consideration and checking prices and talking with some of the other people on the app, we reached out to some of the Whatnot community ambassadors and talked to them, and we are going to go to the summit. I am looking forward to this. Now we do Southern Charm. Okay, honey, do you see that? You need to get on that, please. Can we mark that down on your to-do list for today?
Thank you, Southern Charm. You're fired.
Good morning, Brittany. So we're going to go to this Seller Summit.
Good morning, Brittany.
Seller Meetup. Are you just an hour? You should go if you're only an hour. We're actually flying into Dallas. It was cheaper to fly into Dallas and rent a car than it was to fly into Austin. So we're going to go. It's going to be a super quick trip for us. We're flying in Friday, going to this on Saturday, and flying home early Sunday morning. But we're going. We're going to see what it is. There's going to be a bunch of people there, and hopefully go and meet some Whatnot contacts. One of the reasons why, and I'm going to be fully transparent. One, I was curious. I want to see what these sellers have to say. And I go to a lot of these conferences for my 9 to 5. I actually put on a lot of conferences like this for my 9 to 5. And just like a chat show, there's always something you can learn. So I am really excited to go and see and hear and see what I can learn. But the other side of that is I want to teach at one of these. I think that while these summits are great, and when you register, they ask you, what topics are you interested in? They have like 4 things to pick from. One is, I think it was like how to run a good show, shipping. I forget the other 2 topics, but they were very show-focused topics. Rightfully so, it's Whatnot, that's what we do. But there's no topics on business, no topics on accounting, no topics on sustaining a successful business. So I talked about this last week. I actually wrote to Whatnot and said, hey, I want to come and teach about some accounting, some tax, some business, some of the stuff that I talk about on Fridays. I want to come and do this at your summit. I got a polite decline. Maybe we can talk about it in the future type response, which is fine. But I want to go. I want to actually meet the people who are going to be at Whatnot. I want to talk to them. It is my goal to make this bigger than just this Friday morning. I love our Friday mornings. And I love that all of you guys are here. But I want to make this bigger. I want it to grow. I want to be able to reach more and more people at summits like this. So that's kind of the secondary component to why we're going to go. It's networking. We talk about it all the time. Networking is the same as what we say this is a social app. Greet them in person. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, Southern Charm. I wrote a very nice follow-up reply email. Thank you so much for your consideration, the whole bit, and kind of gave a little bit of a proposal in there. So I'm doing all the right stuff business-wise for it. But this is part of networking. Sometimes we have to put ourselves outside the comfort zone. I am not an in-person person. I'm very withdrawn, very quiet, very introverted, and it takes a lot for me to come out of my shell in person. I can do it. I can walk into a room. I can put the persona on. I can do what I need to, but it's very draining at the end of the day. Oh, thank you, Christy. Well, if you're so close, please be there. The tickets are $75. It may be a little steep, but I think in the whole scheme of things, look, I'm going to a conference next month that my company paid $900 for the ticket. So I didn't have to pay that. But $75, that's a pretty reasonable price for a conference. Thank you, Sunshine Vintage. And I do, like when I go to these other conferences, the ones I put on for my 9 to 5, I do teach. I get up and talk in front of hundreds of people. Good. I'm so glad. We're going to have to make sure that we meet up and talk to each other. We are actually staying at the hotel that the conference is at just to make things simple. We're like, just get a room there. We're only going to be there for 2 nights. So super excited about going. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting up with people. The point I was making is this being a social app, we talk a lot about connecting with people. You've got to do that too in real life and on here. It really helps your business. And if you're like me and you're not like, okay, the social part is very hard for me, you still have to just work through that fear, work through the anxiety about it, because it will excel your business. We saw such a turning point with Zoe's Treasures when I turned the camera around and made it front facing. I started being a little more active. And then when my husband kind of came on board with the business, he's the social butterfly and he is in all these different rooms and he was modding for people and talking to people. And the business really started growing. That was when we really saw a turning point. It was at the same time in conjunction with a couple other events that had happened, but I know for a fact that it had something to do with the turning point in our business.
Well, Christy, Critter and Amber, correct. That's awesome. We looking for maybe we can meet up and get to know each other.
Absolutely.
And from YouTube, Amber House, thank you very much. Come join us on the Whatnot app.
Good morning, good stuff. Yes, if you guys are going, let me know. We will definitely have a time to meet up. They're serving, I think, lunch and breakfast and lunch and snacks or whatever, but there's always going to be time to grab a cup of coffee and just hang out and talk. So definitely, if we don't make plans ahead of time, look for us there. You know what I look like. You've seen my husband occasionally. Just look for the bald Hispanic guy, the cute one.
Good morning, Miss Sandy.
All right. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Oh, we have so many people. This is awesome. I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody. This is going to be great. What do we have going on next? Oh, today's topics. Let's move on to our topics today. Yes, coffee and talking are my favorite things too. Topics. We are going to talk about confidence on camera as a business skill. Is it a single presentation or there's breakout groups of Monster Mama? So they haven't announced the full-fledged schedule yet, which I think is a little odd because I'm sure they know it. But there's going to be seller panels or panels of people. There's going to be breakout rooms, specific talks. Leslie of Reworkers Passion is going to be speaking. De-Archivist is going. I don't know if she's going to be speaking.
Yes, I believe so.
Jen's Multiverse, Philly Flipper,
House of Coop. Also, Julie Becker, yeah.
Philly
So Flipper.
There's a whole bunch of people from all different categories coming that will be speakers at the event. So we are going to talk about confidence on camera as a business skill. That's our business topic. And then our tax topic is deducting equipment for live selling. So we're going to go to the equipment side, kind of talk about how do we handle all this stuff that we buy for our business. That's not just supplies, boxes, and stuff like that. So let me do a giveaway because I've been talking and not doing any giveaways. All right, we have a giveaway. As always, our giveaways are the CEO affirmation cards. It is week 9 this week, along with a vintage postcard. Okay. And you guys, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, please put them in the chat throughout any of this. You don't have to, even if it's not on the topic, please feel free. I love when you guys contribute. So, first one, confidence increases perceived expertise. I want to explain first of all, I really want to establish that when I'm talking about confidence on camera, I'm not talking about ego. I'm not talking about coming on camera all puffed up like you're the best thing in the world. I'm talking about what's inside of you. Your belief in yourself, your belief in your products, your belief in the pricing, that's what you're bringing. You're bringing this confidence that I belong here. I have a seat at this table. I know what I'm doing. I'm prepared for this. I know my prices. I know my products. That's the confidence that you need to bring. It's about taking that clarity that you have on who you are and what you bring and expressing it outwardly. That's what confidence is. Confidence isn't about, look at me and puffing up my chest and I'm so big and great and wonderful on here. It's not about that at all. It's about showing up and showing up in full force because you absolutely belong. You are the owner of your business and you absolutely belong where you are, and you're the only one that can do what you do. That's confidence. How do you express that? On Whatnot, let me take a step back. On Whatnot, your buyers, they can't touch what you're seeing. They can't smell what you're seeing. Sometimes not smelling might be a good thing. They can't inspect it in person, and they can't compare it to other items in real life. Like, they can't hold up things and be like, oh, what's the size? Your confidence is what helps sells that. They're buying part of you, and in essence, when your customers come, your product is almost a secondary aspect to it. They're buying what they see on the screen. They're going to buy into you and your confidence far more. They're already judging, and I don't want to say judging to scare people, but when we're going to talk about what buyers think when they come into a room. When they come into that room, they're assessing what they see in you far before they're assessing the products that you're selling. So we have to show up in that manner. We have to bring it. And it's not about, faking it. It's not a fake it till you make it type scenario. This is, you belong there and you need to believe it. Fake it till you make it. We both said it at the same time. So, because they are buying you first. So when you speak clearly, what does some of this confidence look like? I love everything you sent, but the postcard for me. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I like that. So when you speak clearly, when you hold the item steady, you've seen people then they go, okay, this is what I got. Here you go. And you're almost wondering, why are they turning it so fast? Are they trying not to show me something? Are they trying to hide something? But when you hold it, you're like, this is what I have. Boom, right here. Check this out. That's confidence, right? So when you speak clearly, when you hold the item steady, when you don't apologize for your pricing, when I'm not saying, I paid up for this, so I'm so sorry, I've got to run it for $20. Don't apologize and say, look at this. I'm going to run this for $20 right now. Let's get this going. It's confidence. When you don't second guess your descriptions, when you're not like, oh, I'm not really sure what this is, or, oh, I messed up this. Now, that's not saying that that you have to be experts in everything you bring, because I'm definitely not an expert. There's a lot of people that aren't experts in what they bring. But having some idea in your descriptions and your product is confidence. And that's what your buyers see when they walk in the room. So you increase your perceived expertise, and your perceived expertise increases their trust. So the more confident I can be in showing my item, the more the buyers, the more the people in your room think you're an expert in that. There are certain times, look, I have 30 years experience in what I do here. That does not mean that I know everything under the sun about accounting and tax. I know a lot, but it doesn't mean I know everything. But if I come on here apologizing for not knowing everything, more so than I come on here and just straight up and say, this is what we're talking about. Let's go through this and give you the facts that I do know and that I can give you confidently. That holds a lot more weight than me coming on and saying, oh, there's something about that in the IRS. I really don't know. Right? So think about this. Let's just do an example. Would you rather have a surgery? Imagine you're sick, you need some type of surgery, from a nervous doctor. Let's see who got that giveaway really quick. Mary Locke, congratulations. Thanks for being here.
Congratulations.
Would you rather have surgery from a doctor doing this? Okay, it looks like you have this, and we got to do this surgery. Or do you want a doctor that comes in calm and steady and says, ma'am, this is what we're going to do. This is how long it's going to take. This is the date we're going to schedule it on. This is what your recovery is going to look like. You want that doctor that's confident, right? It's the same thing in every single business. And our buyers are looking at that from us. Now, we may not be performing surgery. Thank God. You don't want me anywhere near that. Has anyone seen videos on buy now items? For Beauty, I have not. But if that's a new thing, please tell me about that, because that's kind of cool. So you want to express that same type of confidence. Confidence changes how we assign authority. The more confident somebody comes across, the more in our subconscious mind, we perceive their being an authoritative figure in a good way. So we want to express that as sellers.
Eye for Beauty. Haven't seen any, but if you're gonna buy it from me, I'll create the video.
So let's just do a quick example. And I know you've all seen this, and you may even be thinking to yourself, wow, I kind of recognize some of this in what I'm doing. Is you could have the same item and have 3 very different presentations. Okay, I got an ironstone. It's an ironstone gravy boat. It's really cool. Here you go. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, that's okay. Somebody who really wants the ironstone gravy boat's going to bid on it probably. Or you can come with all the facts. I have this ironstone gravy boat. Do you know when they use this? This was made in the late 1800s. Look at how gorgeous it is. You're not going to see this print anywhere else. Here's the markings on the bottom. And you're given the facts and you're confident and you're like, I'm going to run this for $18. It is running right now. And you're confident, right? You don't even have to have all the facts to show your confidence. You can be, I have a gorgeous ironstone gravy boat right here. We're about to run it. So you can still be confident and show it and be like showing up in the moment securely in who you are and what you have, even if you don't have all the facts. Now, obviously, having a little more facts about the items makes it better. But even if you don't, you can still show up confidently. It was the whole kind of key point to that. So when we talk about this showing up confidently, a lot of people are like, but that's not me. I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert too. Trust me. I am usually the one at social events in the corner on my phone because I'm nervous about talking to people in real life. We can work through that. What's the worst thing that's going to happen getting on this camera? Because if you're laughing at me right now, I can't hear you. So what's the worst thing is going to happen? You're going to burp on camera? You're going to drop something? So what? If you were to do that, if you were to go on camera and something embarrassing happened and you never came back, do you think anybody would ever remember? Are they going to be sitting around 10 years from now saying, I was on Whatnot one time and somebody burped on camera? Who cares? No, they're not going to know. There's nothing bad that's going to happen to you. Roll over bubble wrap. Hold on, I got to read this. There's some questions. I'll get to them. Roll over bubble wrap and people think I farted. Yes. In my description, I tend to give a lot of info about my piece to instill confidence, but it takes up the room on the screen. Does that hurt? Absolutely, Extended Grace. I think it does. This goes back to one of Jeremy on Grade 13's key points, is you have just a very little bit of real estate. So you don't want your description taking up everything. Let me show you an example of one. This is one that I rarely ever pin because of the amount of information that it has. So this is my Ledger to Leadership book. I'm going to pin it for you really quick. Look at that description. What does that do? Takes up the whole screen. Takes up everything. You can barely see me. And if I'm holding up a product, you definitely are not seeing the details on those products, right?
It pushes the chat up. So
versus, let's see if we can find something that has just a very short description. That's even a little too long right there, but it's a lot shorter. So at least I can hold something up higher. So I would use the advantage of you're there showing it live. Give the pertinent details in your description. If there is a call out, definitely put it in the description so that you're covering yourself. You're like, look, I put it in the description and I told you about it verbally. Maybe a height, length, width. If you're doing clothing, size, size. Put the pertinent information. But all the fluff, I don't think needs to go into a description because it takes up too much real estate. It's a live selling app. You're better off showing it and describing it live. Trish, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. Abba says, I just clicked on them. They don't work. Were you able to see? Oh, okay. Eye for Beauty. Yeah, let me know if you guys find those videos. That's new. I haven't heard about it, but I'm super curious about it. One girl tripped and said, well, did you sell it? She said, yes. And I said, there you go. The trip and the flip. A new concept. Absolutely. People come on here and do reality TV stuff. People come on here and they cry. And I'm not saying it's bad to cry on camera, but people are crying. People are like ugly crying, like snot coming out of their nose crying. Okay. people come on here and tell you all about their dating life and their, mom, sisters, brothers, cousin who married their third uncle and all this crazy weird stuff. And you're worried about looking silly? What about telling buyers they can swipe away the chat? You can, but until Whatnot leaves that bid button.
In some phones, Sunshine Vintage style, there's the possibility of swiping away the chat and the bid button still there. I haven't seen it on mine. There's a lot of people that have been mentioning that they can see it and they can bid. So if you have that ability, that's awesome.
You can't, and this is twofold. So I was just about to say that until Whatnot keeps the bid button there, I don't like telling people to swipe away the chat. However, supposedly some people can still see the bid button. The other side of that is if you swipe away the chat, I feel it increases the risk of less engagement from the people who swipe away the chat, because if they're not reading the chat, that's a way to keep them engaged and hopefully have them type stuff. So it's one of the tools we have as for engagement. So I really don't like to swipe it away. I think there's certain circumstances. When I was on Battle of the Best a couple weeks ago, I stood up there with these plaques and I said, okay, I want you guys to swipe away the chat. I said that because I did put in a really, really long, detailed description on purpose because we were trying to really increase the pre-bids on that. So I said, for a second, I want you guys to swipe away the chat so you can really enjoy the beauty of these items. But then before I ran it, I said, okay, now bring that chat right back. We're going to go ahead and run these. So if you're using it in a strategic way every now and then to really showcase something, I'm all for it. I just don't like it as a consistent thing in a show. People want to know that you have an idea of what you're selling. Absolutely good stuff. They have left the bid button. And I think that's a wonderful update. I hope they roll it out to everybody. I haven't got to see that yet. So, and there's other features that I haven't seen, which is the way Whatnot rolls things out to me is very, I would love to know how, like the logic behind it and the thought process. So like the new shipping labels, I don't have those yet. I would love to have those. But I keep reading that a lot of people are getting them. And I'm like, okay, where's mine? Give me new shipping labels. Okay. So it makes sense. It does make sense. They are the new shipping labels. I keep hearing this. I keep seeing pictures on the internet of people using them. I'm like, I want mine because I am definitely a person who prints all the packing list. Does it keep those of you who have it from swiping out of the show? Oh, that's a good question. Yes, if anybody knows that, let me know. Because it's also so easy to swipe out of a show. I know all of us have done that. I do it way too many times.
Good morning, Millie.
Yes, good morning, Millicent. Okay, confidence isn't personality. I know a lot of us are going to be like, I'm just shy, I'm an introvert, I'm scared to be on camera. Confidence isn't about your personality. It's not about what's, this innate thing. It's preparation. Good morning, Forgotten Memories. We were talking all about you and Peacock, Coastal Peacock this morning and Tripod. So there you go. That's one of the 3 people, Forgotten Memories, to follow. Bird Theory, love the new labels. Would have been nice to have them a few weeks ago. Oh, wow. Yes, absolutely. I bet you printed a big old long look like a CVS receipt, right? So confidence comes from preparation. I am able to come and be confident and talk to you every Friday morning. Why? This is why. All these notes. Because I prepare. Because I come here and I'm like, I know what I'm going to talk about. I know what my points are. And I don't have to try to remember it and be nervous that I'm not going to remember. And I can go down my list of points because I prepare. This is no different than a show. You should have some type of pre-show preparation that you're doing. I know a lot of people wing it. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, I got a show in 5 minutes. All right, pop that phone on the tripod. Let's go. If that works for you, wonderful. I am of the mindset that having a pre-show kind of system, a checklist, something that you follow is far more effective. Do you have all your supplies with you? Do you have your tape measure? Do you have your blacklight? Do you have a power cord? Is your phone charged? What are you going to say? Or do you have all of your items set up? Do you have your giveaway ready? Do you have your raid item ready? Have you put in your show notes? Have you done all these things? because when I get into a show and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot my show notes, and it throws me off. I feel off. I don't feel prepared. I don't feel confident when I'm like, oh, I didn't do this or I forgot this. So confidence comes from that pre-show preparation. Your anxiety, when you're in a show and you're having anxiety and you're just like, oh, this is off, something's off, it's because you either don't know your inventory details, you're not sure about what you're selling, you don't have confidence in what you're selling, you don't know your floor price. You will see a lot of sellers get anxious when you'll see them run it for one price, and then they're like, okay, I really want to take this down. Hold on, let me think about it. What did I pay? That doesn't come across as confident, right? That comes across as, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to like just make sure, it gives me this weird feeling of, am I getting ripped off? Am I really paying the right price for this? So knowing your floor price allows you to confidently state the price you want or confidently ask for more bids. It's okay to ask for more bids, not in a bad manner. I am not for that. Bid it up, chat. I hate that stuff. But to put something up there and to say, this is valuable. You guys, I really want you to take time to look at this. I want you to understand the value in this. I'm trusting you guys that you're going to bid appropriately. It's okay to ask for more bids sometimes. Now, if you do it over and over and over and over and over again, people are going to swipe out. They're going to get tired of it. But if you have a special item, it's okay to do that. Okay, but you can't do that if you're not confident in what you have and the price that you should want to ask for it, and knowing your floor in it. Knowing the comps, you don't have to give comps. I think it's kind of tacky to give comps, honestly, but to know that if I'm asking $20 for something, I'm comfortable in asking $20 because I've seen it sell for $20, because it's not just in somebody else's room, because I know the market value of this item is $20. So I feel confident in asking for that. If I don't know something, if I don't know the comps around something, and I'm saying $20, and I'm gonna be like, in my head, if I'm questioning myself at all in my head, it will show through on the camera. Even if it doesn't come out of my mouth, it will show through. And that goes for everybody. If you don't believe it, you can't express it. So knowing your cost of goods sold, so knowing, we just went back to knowing your cost, and knowing what's coming next, knowing your show flow, all of this stuff, if you don't know any of that, that's going to create anxiety and uneasiness that will show on the camera. So the more that you can prepare and understand and know your show flow, your items, all of these things. Thank you so much, Gonzo. The more confidence that you're going to elude, or not elude is not the right word, the more confidence you're going to show and your buyers are going to pick up on. See, I talk a lot about the CEO mindset. CEOs don't just wing it. They stage it. And this is where I kind of think that fake it till you make it kind of thing comes in, is prepare, get it all ready. And even if you're just still a little like, look, I'm nervous, exude. Thank you so much. That was the word I was looking for. Yes, that one, exude. So if you prepare everything, even if you're nervous, because I still get nervous before I go on, before I do a live. Even if you're nervous, you can still be confident if you prepared, because you're like, look, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for it. I have my notes, or I have my show flow. I know what's coming. I know my prices. And if you know that it takes out all that, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? How many of you, before you went on your first show, delayed your first show because you got hung up on your what ifs? Well, what if this happens? What if my phone dies? What if my sound doesn't work? What if I don't know what to say about an item? What if somebody says something mean in the chat? What if there's a troll? What if they ask me a question I can't answer? Okay, so what if? The way to get out of your what ifs is to answer yourself. Okay, what if somebody says something mean in the chat? You boot them. Okay, that's done, solved. Don't have to worry about that. What if something breaks on camera? Sorry, folks, that broke. Guess we're not selling that one. Problem solved, right? So you can get caught up in your what ifs all day long. Answer yourself and create confidence through having answers. What is that? That's preparation. That's being prepared. What if I sell 100 items? How I'm going to ship? Now that's a good question, for beauty. All right. Preparation turns selling into a live performance leadership. Okay. You are exuding that confidence. You're exuding leadership. You're getting up here and you're doing your thing. You all have it in you. Don't boot them. Invite them to co-host. That's a good trick. Yes. because they don't want to be front and center. They just want to needle you from the back there, right?
Stacy, that would be a Greek celebration right there.
It does make for good social content, absolutely. My friend was looking at a show and they started something at a dollar. Someone wanted to bid for 28 and then started the bid with the same product at 28. Okay. I'm not sure. I guess they were trying to figure out if somebody's going to pay 28, they're the next product, they're like, oh, we're just going to start it at that. I think that's kind of odd. If you're going to do a dollar, there's a whole psychology behind the dollar start. I'm guessing the second one did not sell for 28. Just guessing on that one. Yeah, you thought it was strange? All right. It's okay if you mess up. I'm going to tell you a really somewhat of a personal story. I mean, it's okay. It's a story I've told before. We made it no secret. My husband's my second marriage. I was married for 20 something years before. Didn't work out, obviously. However, my first husband, we met on a blind date. Somebody had fixed us up. It was actually my boss at the time, who was his cousin. We met at my boss's house. They lived in Detroit, and they're like these houses. They all look the same. You literally look down the block. Every single house looked the same, almost the same color. Yes, off-topic story. So then they all look the same. We went in the house. We decided to, go outside, and we're just, like you kind of like walking to the car and we're chit-chatting, and we moved. There's a neighbor. We walked down a few houses talking to the neighbor. I had never been in this neighborhood before. This is my first time ever there. I was already nervous because this was a blind date. So, excuse me, I need to use the restroom. They're like, oh yeah, just go, the front door's open. Feel free to go back in the house. I turn around, I walk up the driveway, and I walk into the wrong house. Literally open the door to the wrong house in front of this person that's a blind date that I'm trying to impress. It was the most embarrassing thing in the world. But you know what happened? It turned into a fun story that was told at our wedding. You could take anything and take anything bad that you may think is tragic and just, oh my God, how could I have done that in the moment? And turn it around for something good. It could become a story. It could become something funny. It could become something that you grow from. Someone co-hosted me unexpectedly, and I was in bed under the covers. Uh-oh. Well, you're undercover. You're just hiding from the camera. I have had somebody that I'm friends with tell me that they accidentally, good morning, Coastal Peacock Co. There is number 2 of the 3 that I was telling you about to follow this morning. I've had somebody I'm friends with tell me that they accidentally hit go live when they were like getting out of the shower, out of bed or something, and they were naked and they were like really quick trying to end the show. Stuff happens. Nobody saw nothing though. Okay. So think about athletes. Athletes don't just get out on that field. Your favorite football star, your favorite basketball star, they don't just get out on that field and perform, or the court and perform. They practice, they prepare, they rehearse, they drill, and then they review. It's all about the preparation. It's all about, I have a competitive cheerleader. She's at the gym 5 days a week plus tumbling for 2 minutes on the mat. She'll spend 20 hours a week in preparation for the 2 minutes that she gets on the mat. We do the same thing here.
Good practice makes perfect.
It does. And we have Whatnot, in their infinite wisdom, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, put in a practice feature. You can run a private show. They have their practice shows. I forget what they're called. They're not called practice shows. I wouldn't even use those. Use a private show. Invite your best buddy, invite your cousin, whatever, and you could practice all day long. If there's a skill you're trying to improve, you could do a private show with 1 or 2 people that you trust and feel comfortable with and practice that all day long. I had an estate sale seller take us into the bathroom with her not turned off her camera. Hold on. I'm missing it. What am I not reading? Hold on. I had an estate sale seller take us into the bathroom. I'm not sure what you're saying. And not turn off her camera. Oh, she went to the bathroom. She didn't take you into the bathroom. That is one of my biggest fears out here. Okay, that would be embarrassing. I do. So this is a legit fear. Those of you who work from home understand this fear of being on a Zoom or a Teams meeting. All of us, oh my goodness. Yeah, you all got to go to the bathroom together. So thank you for sharing. Tragic for me. It took me 5 years and I just booked my first show. You can do it, the Yankee Peddler. You can do it. I went live on the can once. Yeah, accidentally. Yeah. Those of us who work from home, this is a legit fear because there's those times when I'm in a meeting, like we do Teams meetings, and I have to use the bathroom, and I still need to listen and be somewhat present. This is a huge fear. Like I triple check the camera, the microphone to make sure that nobody realizes that they're in my bathroom at that moment. The number of times that people have like come into the bathroom with me unknowingly. And the other thing is when I have to, usually I don't leave during a show, but if I have to use the restroom during the show and I wear this mic right here, that's like my biggest fear, that I'm going to wear the mic in the bathroom and all you're going to hear. You work from home. So Bertha, you get this, right? It's a thing. It had to raid immediately. Oh no. I did a private show when I first started and it showed it to everyone in past shows. Oh no. Well, thank goodness we can hide our past shows now. So they can't even see all of them. She told the story in seller support. That's okay. Yep. All right. So we all know preparation. Let's get back to preparing reduces our anxiety. So being ready for all these bad things that we think can happen and being ready for the good things too. What are you going to do if you get a raid? Are you going to stumble through it? Hello. Thank you for being here. Is that the first impression you want to give to people when they come into your room? What happens if you get raided by House of Coop with 500 people? Are you going to be confident and collected and ready for that raid? Are you going to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God? What do you want them to see when they come in? I'll faint. Yeah, I might faint too, honestly. All right. So if you throw something in the chat. If you have a pre-show ritual or checklist that you use, if you have something you do before every show, throw something in the chat. I just want to see how many people are like, I'm there. I do my preparation. We have a lot of, we got it. You guys are on this.
Hey, Scuba. Good morning.
You're very welcome, Scuba. 150 push-ups. You get yourself pumped up, ready to go. Yeah, I love seeing that people are prepared. So for those of you who don't have a pre-show ritual, I am guessing, even if you say, no, I don't, apply perfume. It makes you feel better. Absolutely. I put perfume on. I brush my teeth because it makes it, you know what? Those little things helps me feel more confident, helps me portray that confidence. If I feel that I look good, I always ask my husband right before I go on, do I have any boogers on my nose? I always ask that. That's like this thing, right? That's part of my pre-show ritual. As stupid as it sounds, it's part of my pre-show ritual. But you do it for modding. There you go. I'm prepared. It gets the jitters out. Double check all settings, put on lipstick. I love them. And even if you're one of those people who think, no, I just go on, I don't need all of that, I bet you still have something. I can guarantee you still have something you do. You're just not calling it a pre-show ritual. So I guarantee that you're like, oh, let me plug my phone in, let me charge it. I guarantee that an hour before the show, you're looking and seeing if you have enough battery for your show. There's something you're doing, even if you're not calling it a pre-show ritual. Meditate, that's amazing. If you meditate, that's wonderful. Whatever you need to do for you. I remember my first show? My first show was a absolute freaking disaster. It was awful. You guys, we should play it someday. I should put it on my YouTube. Do we even have it? We don't have it. Thank God we don't have it. It was bad. I should have kept it as a learning thing. My first show was so bad. I sold something. I sold one thing on my first show. I didn't even know I sold it. I didn't thank the person for buying it. I had no clue that I even sold something. I had notes. I was like reading all these notes. The tech was bad. We didn't have a good connection. My kids I had invited my adult children to the show. They were calling me on my phone the whole time to tell me how bad the tech was and how spotty it was. But of course I wasn't answering them, but the phone was going off constantly next to me. It was terrible. It was, you can get through anything. Practice. We go back to the athlete. You practice. The more you come on here, the easier it gets to keep doing this. And I keep forgetting to do the giveaways. Let's do another giveaway. Ruler, bell, heart, eye, sunglasses for my signature, blue light, plug it. Yep, there you go. Boom, 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 boom. So even if it's not something that's written down, like we don't have ours written down, but we have, between my husband and I, kind of a pre-show ritual. I can almost tell you on the dot at 5 minutes before, he's going to say microphone. almost always about 5 minutes before the show, he's going to say, microphone. So, does the microphone work? Then we do sound checks. Is the tech working? Our plan, and part of the ritual should be too about those what ifs. If the cameras don't work, if the sound don't work, we switch to the phone as a backup immediately. And you learn those things through trial and error, right? You learn them when something happens. My second show, I sold guy things that I know nothing about. I stayed up for an attitude in the room, sold zero. It happens. All right. Okay. Presence. Let's go to our next point. Presence builds authority. So let me kind of talk about what I mean about presence here. It's not just showing up. We're all present on our show. We're here. I'm present on the show, but it's more than that. So in order to build that authority, because we talked about how confidence creates that authority, but we need to work on that. We need to be present to do that. Eye contact with the camera. Huge. I know it sounds weird. You only had one in inventory. Oh no. Eye contact with the camera is huge. You are looking at people. They are here. They are looking at you. You don't want to be doing your show like this. Oh yeah, really great. Now I know sometimes we have to put chat, like our computer somewhere else so we can read the chat, but you have to make a point of having eye contact. It is no different than when you're face to face with somebody. If you never look them in the eye, that makes you come across as being shady, right? You have to have that eye contact with the camera. I had Southern Charm sitting with me for my first show. Oh, that's so sweet. I was so nervous and doing something, and I'm like, "Aw, a random chick, you're killing it. You're good." What do you think about sellers who only show their hands on camera? I think they're missing a huge part of this app. I know there may be certain reasons, maybe there's just something that you don't want to show your face. Maybe not you in particular, but any seller might not want to show their face. But this is a social app. We as humans connect with each other. It's hard to connect with a pair of hands. Now, if you're showing something small, absolutely, that's the best way to show it. But flip that camera around every now and then. Open and close your show. It will help with that social connection. It will help your buyers feel more trust in you. It will help your buyers feel that confidence from you when you come on the screen. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're young, old, what color you are, what nationality you are, if you have pimples, missing teeth. I don't care about any of that. And you know what? Most other people don't either. They want to know you. That doesn't mean you need to give them all of your deep, dark secrets, but they want to see you. They want to put a face with the name. It's highly important on this app. And look, when I first started, if somebody would have told me that, I didn't show my face for 6 months. I did the first show and then I said no for 6 months after that. It changed. My business changed. Everybody will tell you the minute you flip that camera around, it changes.
Oh no, Auntie Barbie. I'll dress up for that.
Look, you guys are worried about, not you, everybody, but people come on here and they're like, I just couldn't do it. I'm so nervous. I'm so embarrassed to be on camera. Have you seen some of the people on camera? Come on, I dressed up as the Lorax to come on camera. I was all orange and literally was like standing there. People do crazy things on here. You in your normal clothes with your brushed hair and a little bit of lipstick on, you're going to just look like another normal average person on the app.
Lana's Bananas, it's on YouTube. You can watch it.
It's on YouTube, yes. So let's talk about presence builds authority. We talked about the eye contact, right? Intentional pauses. You dress up too? Awesome. I'm not doing it so much this year, but I tried it last year a few times. You don't have to brush your hair or put a bra on. I suggest it, but maybe that's your thing. Maybe CG Boomerang Echo has made a thing out of being in a bath towel on her head and a robe every single morning. This is like a theme in her show. So if you're the type and you're like, I don't want makeup, I don't want a bra, just make sure no bits are showing. Just make it a thing in your show then. But intentional pauses. Thank you so much. We have to self-reflect, absolutely, and realize areas we need to work on 100% and work towards them. Eye contact, yes, it's very hard to get comfortable with because it is really weird staring into a camera. Very, very weird. But you have to do it. Who's going to get that crazy old broad? Congratulations on that giveaway. Thank you for being here. People worried about their background. Have you seen some of the backgrounds of these shows? Exactly. you're going to be hard pressed to be crazier than somebody else on this app. Let me just tell you, there's almost nothing you're going to do that's going to be worse than somebody else. So having intentional pauses, taking a breather. I know I could talk, I can go on, but taking a breather every now and then is okay. Clear pricing. I'm going to stress clear pricing over and over again. And that does not mean you have to start everything at $1, but being clear about what those prices are creates a sense of calm to your buyers. And calm pacing. Now you could be excited, upbeat, fun, and still have a calm presence about yourself. It doesn't mean just that I have to sit here like this and be very mellow and calm. You don't have to be that. You could still be excited and stuff, but people can feel the calm in your room. They can feel like they're sitting on their couch having a conversation, even if you're animated, okay? Authority, a lot of that authority that we talk about, that presence, is built in your tone. This is what they're getting, right? They're getting your body language, and your tone is what's coming across. So those are the things we really need to be conscious of. So when you're rushing, have you ever seen sellers go, okay, we got an ironstone thing here. Okay, let's go. All right. Next item. When they're rushing, and I'm not talking about liquidation sales or the volume sales where fast moving items are the thing. I'm not talking about that style of show. I'm talking about a niche show that they rush through items. To me, that signals insecurity. It means you are not confident enough in your product to show it clearly and long enough on the screen. So you're kind of fidgeting and you're rushing because you're not confident. Okay, that shows an insecurity. Good morning. So over-explaining is sometimes fast is too fast. Exactly. There we go. Crazy Old Broad says they did customer service for over 20 years and tone is so important. I can't stress that enough. This is all your buyers have. What you say, the voice, the how you're saying it, and your body language. That's what they have. And you need to use those two attributes so that your buyers can feel like they can feel, see, smell, hear, whatever, taste that product. So you have two attributes to try to explain a whole bunch more for your buyer. So how you use those two attributes is vital. Over-explaining sometimes signals doubt too. I know you've all heard this or experienced it with somebody in your life at one point. When somebody's lying to you, they're usually telling a very elaborate story. When your kid ate the cookies, and you say, Bobby, did you eat all those cookies? Did you go in the cupboard and take those cookies? And they're like, no, I think Sally did it because I saw Sally come in yesterday and she was over there by the cupboard and then I saw some crumbs in her bedroom and because Bobby's making up this whole story. He's over-explaining. Over-explaining, when you're over-explaining your items too, that creates doubt. There's an equal balance. And it's not like a one-way fits all for everybody. Every item you have is unique. But if I sit here and I'm like, every little detail kind of over-explaining, every little thing, too much, there could be too much to it too. So that kind of to me signals doubt. Like if I don't tell you more and more and more, you're never going to buy this. So I got to keep talking and telling you more so that you'll buy this. Be confident, give the facts, tell the history, tell the story and move on, right? The other one, silence. Silence can come, your tone includes silence, includes not speaking. Silence is so powerful. It can send so many messages. Silence signals control. It signals, I have enough power here to stop talking for a minute, right? Okay, are you guys ready for what comes next? Did that catch your attention? If you weren't watching the screen, and I got really excited and then I got really silent. If you weren't watching the screen, were you like, what's coming next? What's happening? Why is there no sound there? Silence could be a huge tool. Silence, not speaking, can actually engage your chat a little bit more than speaking. I am not talking about silent shows. I am not a fan of silent shows. I'm talking about using silence as a tool when you're delivering something. It is okay to show something. Look at how beautiful this piece is. It is okay to sit in silence for a second or two to let somebody enjoy something, to get somebody's attention. White Owl Craftery, you got that. Thank you so much for being here.
Congratulations.
Okay, let's talk about eye contact. We're going to go back. Body language, fidgeting, scratching can all signal deception, 100%. The whole study, and don't know a whole lot about it. I know like this much about it, but that whole thing about like micro expressions and body language is fascinating. I heard someone say to never say thank you for looking at that because it gives away to people who are only listening that your item didn't sell. I mean, I guess I could see that. I still say thank you because I think you need, to me, saying thanks for looking at that is an easy way to still be excited. It's showing like you just gave me 30 seconds or 10 seconds of your time. Thank you. Thank you for not swiping out when I was showing something that you were not interested in. But I don't want to say those exact words. So thanks for looking at that. Let's move on to our next item. I think it's okay, but to each his own. I mean, like if that's something that bothers you and you're like, I don't like that, then don't put it in your shows, right? Yeah, it's a different perspective. I think I want to ponder on that a bit because that is a different perspective. All right, let's just practice eye contact for 1 second. So I could sell you this. My husband's rolling his eyes. I could sell you this and I can look at you and talk to you about this. Or I can be over here talking about it, looking at the chat. Now, if I'm talking about this, looking at the chat, and you could see me looking over here, right? Constantly. It's okay to look away if you're reading because you still want to be engaged. But if I am always looking there and never looking at you, that signals to me that I'm constantly looking for approval from the chat. I'm looking for, do they agree with what I'm saying? Do they like my items? I'm always looking for some reassurance in that chat and I'm not connecting. So that's just, I can't, probably the whole point here, I cannot stress enough how important eye contact is. And it doesn't have to be like creepy. Like I don't have to sit here the whole time staring at you while I'm talking because that gets really, really awkward for you and for me. And you're probably sitting over there going, oh my God, can she actually see through that camera? Like she's looking at me. That gets really weird, right? But every now and then you need to look at the chat. Okay. Authenticity outperforms perfection. How do you feel about silence versus talking while a bidding war is going on? I've described it well. Do I call out the bidders as they go? Feels weird. I think it's whatever you're comfortable with. I oftentimes will be silent or I'll just say, thank you for your bids. Like I'm appreciating it. I'm appreciating what you guys are doing. I don't know if there's like a right answer to that. I think it's however you feel more comfortable. I've been in shows where the seller has been like, oh, Jane wants it. She's in on it. Uh-oh, here comes Joe. Joe wants it. And I think there's some fun and some engagement and excitement with that. It's like going to a real auction and you kind of hear them calling things out. My husband's over there shaking his head. He's like, no, I don't like that at all.
I don't like it. I think it's distasteful.
Yeah.
I don't need a narration of what's going on. I can see it. If I'm interested in the item, I'll bid for it. But if I'm not, I don't need a narration of this is not a race. I feel like I'm in a race. And first, we have Seabiscuit, and oh no, and now it's Jungle Jim. Oh no, Seabiscuit takes the lead. No, I think it's distasteful.
So there you go, two sides of the coin. I don't mind it every now and then as an engagement tool. I don't know if I would listen to it over and over and over again. I think thanking people are fine. It's like, hey, you're bidding. Thank you so much for your bids. And I think it's okay to be quiet. Let them battle it out. And then at the end say, congratulations, just make a thing out of it. I like if people can actually professionally bid, call. I like it if people can actually professionally bid, call. It's very entertaining. Yes, there are a few people. Nine Dimes does it very well. If you guys have never seen a Nine Dimes show, he uses tone and inflection in his voice and bid calling. He's wonderful at that. It's really engaging.
And Faded Flamingo, even though it's explicit,
Yes.
I like her way to do it. It's very unique and very nice. Very inventive. I like it.
Yeah, if you don't mind explicits, I'm not going to say the words because I don't have explicit turned on. But if you don't mind some language, Faded Flamingo is effity bucketies. And it's fun to watch. It is very entertaining if that type of thing doesn't bother you.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
Okay, So let's talk about how authenticity, being authentic, outperforms perfection. We talked last week about paralysis or analysis paralysis. Mary Lack, today's your lucky day. Thank you for being here.
Congratulations.
So we have a tendency to be like, I don't want to do anything if it's not perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You have to be authentic. We have right here, my husband's shown it a few times, we have a full-fledged studio. We can do production television here. You don't have to have that. You don't have to have the best ring light, the best phone. You don't have to have everything perfect. You don't have to have the best pre-show routine. You have to have something. Something is better than nothing. And it gets really hard in our lives because it's drilled into us in sports and as kids, anything worth doing is worth doing right. You got to be the best. So we've come into this adulthood as I can't do anything if it's not perfect. You do have to, an iPhone is better than an Android, but you don't, it gets drilled into us so that when we go into new endeavors like whatnot, we think we can't do it unless we're perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You have to be authentic, not perfect. It's okay if you don't have studio lighting or fancy cameras. All of that's okay. You don't need that stuff. What you need is clarity, confidence, consistency, honesty. That's what you need. You have those things. You're authentic. I could care less you need to be able to show your product, but I'm not going to say, did you get the latest, most upgraded ring light? I'm not going to buy from you unless you have this ring light or you're using this camera. No, I want to know that you're honest, that you're clearly stating the facts, that you have a good, clear price descriptions. And when I say clear pricing, you're letting people know, hey, my prices range from this to this throughout the show. They're all pre-listed. You could check that out. Or we're running everything for $1. Or we're running everything at $19. Whatever your pricing is, being clear about it and communicating it properly. You have to be clear in who you are. That's part of what that confidence is going to bring you. That's expressing externally what's on the inside. It's understanding it and presenting that. So you don't need to be a reality show.
Hey, Millie, yeah, let us know when Nine Dimes does that because I'm following him, but I don't know if I'll catch up this show. And Ranch Hand Finds, she's been telling me that she ordered it and I haven't seen anything.
You got a dry erase. Yes, we're on our way. The best thing ever to do messages because the hand signals are crazy. So you don't have to be a reality show. You don't have to be so authentic that you're giving all your information. Now, if that's your thing, if that's what you've built your business on, that's okay too. But don't come to Whatnot, look at a few sellers and be like, okay, if I'm not on here telling about, the crazy stories of my life, nobody's going to like me. That's not true. Be authentic. Be true to you. I give you glimpses into my personal life, but you guys don't know everything that's going on because you don't have to. Noel for hire on Tracy's off days. I could send them away a few days a month. We've been married a while. We can deal with a couple days apart every now and then. Totally okay with that. So
Good stuff. I cook.
he does cook very well. CEO confidence isn't fake polish. It's grounded self-awareness. It's confidence. It's that self-awareness. You belong here, right? I wrote, you are the chief executive officer of your business. You earned a seat at this table. You belong here. Own it. Come to this, hit that go live button like you are the king of the world or the queen of the world. Own this. There is nobody else who is going to do what you do. There is nobody else on Whatnot that is you. Be you. Be authentic. Own this. Be confident in what you're doing, what you're bringing, what you're selling. That's going to show through. People ask all the time, hello, Lisa. They ask all the time, how do I get people to stay in my room? You know how you get people to stay in your room? Be your authentic self. Show them who you are. They don't want a robot. If they wanted a robot, they in some static listing, they go to eBay. They're here because they want to buy from you. Bring yourself and bring yourself confidently because there's nobody else who's going to do it like you. There's a million vintage decor sellers on here. None of them are me. Okay. And I'm not any of them. And there's no reason to be jealous or to look at somebody else and say, oh, well, they're doing all of this. You know what? Because they're different. That's them. That's their dynamic. Do you know how many other husband and wife teams are on Whatnot? None of them have the dynamic that I have with my husband. And the people who enjoy our dynamic are the people who are going to be here in my show. Okay? You've got to believe that for yourself. We get on here, I see it so much in new sellers, and they try to be something. They try to perform and do something that's not them, and you will not keep people that way. Susan Trendy Treasures, thank you so much for being here.
Congratulations.
You didn't know I was married. Never. You would never know I'm married. Yes, you form a bond when you tell stories or when you tell, but that doesn't mean that you have to be like everything, you know? Tell what you're comfortable with. You don't get this kind of, oh, thank you so much, Sunshine Vintage.
There you go, Stacy.
None of them wear heat eye sunglasses and do a, see, they don't. There's people on here, who was it that we rated? We didn't rate, we were in a room that rated into them the other day. An older gentleman with suspenders, big white beard, and I think maybe a daughter or a sister or something, and they sing. And they sing every time they get a new buyer or a raid, or when you tip them. I loved it. Nobody else does that. It's very different. And if somebody else sings, they don't sing in the same way. This is, I get on here and do tax and accounting shows. There's other CPAs on this app. Doubletree, she's wonderful. I would totally trust her. She does talk shows. Absolutely, she's another CPA to go and listen to. But there's other people who do bookkeeping and tax. Okay, go for it. You don't teach the way I teach. You don't talk the way I talk. And the people who like to learn from me and my style fits with their learning, come to me. The people who, you have a different style, the people who fit with that style go to you. And maybe they go to both. And that's okay. There's plenty of room around for every single person. Okay, last point on business. Confidence improves buyer experience. I think we've kind of built up to this throughout the whole thing. I said it at the very beginning, buyers aren't just buying items. If they're just buying an item, they can go to Etsy or eBay or whatever other static listing, Facebook Marketplace. They can look at the description, they can buy their item. They are here for the experience. They are here for you. So they are purchasing. You play harmonica very badly in your shows. I've got to come and see this harmonica. They're purchasing. Your buyers are here, whether you realize it or not, as a buyer or a seller. Emotional safety. We'll expand on that. Entertainment, clarity, leadership, and stability. All of those things, emotional safety, entertainment, clarity, leadership, and stability, stem from your confidence. I'm going to tie it right back to the very beginning. It stems from your confidence. This is what people are buying. Your items are secondary. What's your best advice for new sellers? Any tips on shipping? Yes, actually, Lisa. My best advice for new sellers is, I think we kind of talked about this the other. Show up, be confident, and be prepared. Don't get in your head about it. Thank you for your purchase from the bin, you guys. If you're buying any PDFs, make sure you message me with your email address so we can get them out to you today. So show up. Be confident. Let's just go back to this. Let's just stick on the confidence. For new sellers, be confident in who you are. Own what you do. Be your authentic self and show up time and time again. That and consistency. I will never lose the word consistency from my language.
Do not oversell. Sell what you can safely ship within a 2-day period.
Absolutely.
And
Especially
if you're gonna need a little bit more time, then do a show on a Friday or a Saturday. That will give you a little extra time and be prepared.
100%. And then any tips on shipping? Yes. Go to Whatnot. Go to whatnothelp.com. Is that what it is? Help. What's the what's honey?
Whatnot.com on the FAQs. On
the FAQs. Read through all of their shipping. It's actually really simple. We overcomplicate it. You have a million sellers on this app and a million different ways of doing shipping. Don't listen to it. From the get-go, when you first starting, don't listen to all the million things that people are going to tell you. Go to Whatnot. They have a very good system set up. Use it the way they intended. Learn it, then start experimenting with different ways to tweak your shipping. That's how I learned. I didn't go into this by listening to 10 different people's advice of create a custom profile and do it this way and only do this and never change box size. I didn't listen to all of that. I went to Whatnot. Thank you so much, Millie. I went to Whatnot. I read the stuff on Whatnot. I said, okay, this is how shipping works. This is how I'm going to set it up. And I've never had a problem. Once you get your head around that, then you can start experimenting and coming up with strategies on shipping. But there's no need to from the get-go. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not that, there's too much conflicting advice out there. It's not as hard as everybody tends to make it out to be. The reason we think it's hard is because you have so many people giving so many opinions. Too many cooks in the kitchen. You only need one cook in the kitchen. Go read what Whatnot says, do what they say. All right. So we're talking about how confidence improves buyer experience, and who's going to get this? Susan Trendy Treasures. Thank you so much. You've got that giveaway. Thanks for being here. So when someone enters a show, okay, when anybody comes into your show, subconsciously, there's a few things going on in their head, subconsciously, that you might not even realize this is happening. And this just happens in the background to every single one of us when we go into a new show. An idea for sellers that are makers: try to partner with a volume seller, make samples of your work, and have them put every box. That's a really great idea. That's a good way to get your work out there. Y'all, if you are a handmade seller, take a look at what iFrom Beauty says there. I think that's a really great marketing tool. Okay, so some of the things these people are asking subconsciously.
That's what Psychabout did with I Love Discounts. They send them a sample of their work and they use it as a giveaway. And so it was part of a partnership between the two.
And I'm gonna go back to shipping really quick here because we got some conversation going that I think is really important. Stop putting max shipping shows and printing 1 pound labels. I will give one piece of shipping advice, and I'm only giving this because this is exactly what Whatnot says in their terms of service under their shipping. You edit your box sizes and weights to match what's happening. You're honest about it. If the box is bigger, change the box size. If the weight is bigger, change the weight. You don't have to go down, but you always have to go up. There's reasons to go down. I'm not getting into all of that. We're going to keep it simple. If your box is bigger than what it shows on that screen, adjust it to the bigger size. If your weight is greater than what it shows on your screen, adjust it to the higher weight. Do that and you can be honest.
And like Living Bliss Vintage says, dimensional weight is not a fairy tale.
Exactly. Based on your cat. Yeah, eventually you get to the point where you start tweaking it once you understand the basics. It's like anything else. You've got to understand what you do. You don't get on a bike when you're a kid and go do wheelies down the street. You get on a bike and figure out how to pedal. Then once you learn how to pedal and move forward, you start doing wheelies. Same thing with everything in life. Okay? Yeah, be honest. It's not hard. Be honest, do the right thing. Very simple. So what are some of the things? We're going to go back to the subconscious that every single person who enters your room is thinking, whether they realize it or not. Is this seller knowledgeable? That's going on in your head. You're judging, you're assessing, you're evaluating. Is this seller knowledgeable? Is this transaction safe? This is the internet. There is an inherent risk on the internet that you're going to get scammed. So whether you realize it or not, you are always evaluating, is this going to be a safe transaction? Particularly with people you have never shopped with before. Will this be a smooth transaction? Do I have to worry about what's happening here at all? And is this worth my time and money? That one's pretty self-explanatory. We all kind of probably think that even more consciously than subconsciously. How do we answer these questions? As sellers, we don't have to say, I don't have to tell you, hey everybody, yep, I'm a CPA, I have 30 years experience, so I'm knowledgeable. You can feel safe. It's okay. I say it at different points in time to establish my expertise and my authority on the subject, but I don't say it because I want to make you feel safe, okay? You feel safe because you come to my shows and see that I'm prepared, see that I'm confident, see that I'm speaking from a place of knowledge. You express all these things through confidence. We'll tie it right back again. All of those questions, those buyers pick up on by your confidence, your tone, your body language, and how you express yourselves.
Tracy O'Rourke, you need to weight your item once it's packaged, and then once it's packaged, then you print your label with the correct dimension and the correct weight.
Yep. You see these people on Facebook are, sometimes you'll even see them in a show, like these packing and shipping shows, where they'll have this whole stack of labels they printed. And they're like, come pack with me. And they have all these labels they printed, not packing lists, like the labels and the packing list. And they pull one off and they pack it and they throw it on the box. I'm like, how did you print a label before you knew what that box weighed? Now, if you're doing just flat rate, okay, you know it fits in a flat rate. That's a different scenario. But I've seen it a million times where I'm like, you're not weighing anything. You're not doing this the right way. Okay, let's think about this example. And I'm missing the chat. I thought my chat was frozen and I just didn't click the button. So you okay, so you answered it. Absolutely. Okay, so imagine this, because we're talking about your tone and your confidence. Any of you frequent flyers here? I fly at least once a month. I always have to go somewhere for work. When you're on a plane and it's getting bumpy, I don't like to fly. I do it because I have to. It's the quickest way to get places. And BKS Loma, you got that giveaway. Thank you so much. Good morning, Bama Thrifting Sisters. So you're on a turbulent flight, okay? You're sitting there, you're buckled in, that plane's kind of bouncing, and you're just kind of like, okay. Do you want a pilot to come on and say, there's a little turbulence. I'm hoping we're going to get out of this pretty soon. Just hold on, buckle up. Do you want that? Or do you want the pilot who says, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're experiencing a little bit of turbulence here, but that's because we're changing altitude. We'll be out of this turbulence in just a couple of minutes. Same message, very different delivery. That's what tone and confidence will bring. That's what we need to take, that type of thinking, and apply it to our shows and our items. You're confident.
Heck no, give me some more. I'm in for the ride.
No. Confidence, your confidence creates calm. That's what we want. What's the opposite of calm? Chaos. We don't want chaos shows. We want calm shows. Calm doesn't mean it can't be energetic. It can still be energetic and calm. When a flight attendant looks scared, yes, it is. When the flight attendants buckle up, I pull my seatbelt just a little bit tighter. So confidence creates calm. Calm creates trust. Trust creates the bidding. It's all tied together. I like when they said it's my first time. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they get on. This is my first flight ever. I'm like, give me a new pilot. Please get me a new pilot. What's the worst? Off topic, I'm going to squirrel. What's the worst when you're walking on the plane and the pilot's standing there, and I probably could have birthed this kid. Like, he looks 12. And I'm like, you're not flying my plane. Like, I don't trust my son to fly my plane. I'm not getting in the air with you. Like, that freaks me out a little bit.
My response would be, hey, can I give it a try too?
Another side story here. We're going to squirrel a bit. So before the job I have now, years ago, probably about 15 years ago, I had another job. I was in Florida. I was supposed to fly to New Orleans. And this is when I didn't fly that often, maybe once a year. And I hated it. Like, I was that panic flyer. I was the flyer that, like, give me something to knock me out. I'm doing deep breathing. I'm like trying to get through this flight, like death grip on the handles the whole flight. That was me. Now I fly like every single month and I'm just kind of used to it. And I'm like, whatever, I'm going to go to sleep on the plane. But back then I was super scared of flying. And I had a business trip. I was supposed to go from Jacksonville, Florida to New Orleans. I woke up, I was supposed to be on that flight at 7 o'clock. I woke up at 4 o'clock and I knew I was going to die on that plane. I just knew it. Without a doubt, I was going to die on that plane. So I called in sick to work. I called in sick and said I couldn't go on this whole trip. I never got promoted that year. I'm sure it played a huge effect on me. But I used to be that way.
I have a story. So I retired from the military.
Hold on. If you're going to tell a story, you have to be in the bubble.
Oh my God. Bubble.
It's the rule. It's the rule.
Here comes the bubble. So I retired from the military. And from time to time, we used to get kids to come over to our unit for a tour. And we'll give them the tour of the unit, and then we'll get them on the boat, and then we'll take them out for a little joyride. And depending on how many kids we had, sometimes I would pick one, and I said, all right, now's your turn. Here's the wheel. Here are the controllers. Go for it. And the kid will look at you and be like, really? And that would make the whole trip for them. They will be so excited. So to me, it's like, you get a new pilot? Hell, let's do it. You know, it nothing builds more confidence than doing something like that, instilling more confidence in them. Anyway, that was my story.
That's his story. Okay, I got a question from you. A question for you. If someone watched your show muted, okay, would your body language communicate confidence? Just think about that. If someone is watching your show muted, would your body language convey confidence? What body? Yes, your husband, every husband needs a bubble. So so kind of ponder that as you go into your shows. Think about that. We've all seen The Sellers. No, but my camera language would. Okay, 9 times. Camera language. We've all seen those sellers where they go to this side of the room, go to that side of the room, looking for my stuff. Where did I put it? Bending over so you see the back end, and they look like plumbers while they're digging through a box, and you're just like, what the heck are you doing, right? Does your body language exude confidence? Extending Grace Shop, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. All right, everybody. That kind of wraps up the business side. Let's move into talking about some tax stuff. But this isn't super technical tax heavy. We're going to talk about deducting equipment used in live selling. So this equipment's a little bit different than a normal expense. We'll probably wrap this up in about 45 minutes, but let's go through and let's talk about deducting equipment. We've talked all morning about confidence and using that as a live selling skill. So let's move on and talk about equipment. So where do you currently, right now, if you answer this question, where do you currently run your shows? Garage, bedroom, kitchen, outside? Ranch hand finds. Oh, cool. Perfect timing. All right. So we have all over the house, right? All different rooms in the house. So that space, whatever space you just put in the chat, that's your revenue producing workspace. Okay. This is no longer your dining room. This is no longer your basement. I want you to think about it. This is your revenue producing workspace. You start labeling it in terms like that, you start looking at it differently. This is where I create my money. This is my revenue producing workspace. Okay. Now think about all of the equipment in your revenue producing workspace, because the goal of that space is to produce revenue, to produce money, right? You have to have equipment in there to produce that. There's 2 words we always say about IRS and what we can deduct. Those 2 words, I've said them a million times. I know you're probably saying them in your head right now. Ordinary and necessary. So those 2 words still apply to your business equipment. If it's ordinary and necessary to produce revenue in your business, then it's deductible. So if it's an ordinary and necessary piece of equipment in your revenue producing workspace, you can deduct it on your taxes. How we deduct it, though, is where it gets a little bit tricky. So that's where we're going to dig in a little bit deeper. So as a live seller, generating your income, includes, there's a lot of things you do in your revenue generating income workspace, right? You're streaming, you're displaying product, you're storing product, maybe not in that exact spot, but you're storing product somewhere. You're communicating with buyers, you're communicating with vendors, you're managing your inventory, and some of you are creating other content for other sites to drive your sales. These are all things that require equipment, okay? All the equipment that supports those revenue producing activities is deductible. So you got to kind of think about it like that. What am I buying that supports those activities? Cameras, phones, we'll go through some lists and some ideas in a minute, but all of that equipment supports those activities. Now, I'm going to say this and it's going to confuse people. It may be deductible. And the key word here is may, because there is a big, big caveat on when it is and isn't deductible or how it's deductible. You have a folding screen behind you. Yep, that's deductible. Do you suggest separating your earnings from your personal bank accounts? Like have 2 accounts for one for whatnot? 100%. Absolutely. That is one of the absolute first things you should do. Always have separate accounts.
Miss Stacy, yes, it will be on YouTube. It's actually being multicast as we speak.
Yes. Everything's on YouTube. Why don't you throw the YouTube up there while I talk so people know where to go? 100% CM, 2 separate bank accounts from day one. And if you're already doing this and you don't have 2 separate bank accounts, that should be the first thing on your to-do list, is to go get a separate bank account. Okay. So when I say it may be deductible, we have to make sure that we're following what the IRS says. We got to make sure that we're in line with what they say is deductible. It must be used in the business, okay? Not just owned by somebody in the business. This is a key point because you're going to hear a lot of bad advice on this. You're going to hear a lot of people say, well, go buy the TV and make it a business expense. Go buy a new laptop and make it a business expense. Buy your kids their iPhones and put them on your business plan. Make it a business expense. No, it must be used in the business, not just owned by somebody in the business. This is a key point when it comes to equipment, because this is where the IRS sees a lot of fraud and a lot of misuse of these deductions. I did a Whatnot closed me down. You'll add a Whatnot account later. That's weird. Okay. Ownership, just owning something isn't enough to have it be tax deductible. Stacy, you do not need an LLC. CM888, congratulations, you got that giveaway.
Congratulations.
I will give my really quick 30-second synopsis of LLC because everybody who's been around me is rolling their eyes right now like, uh-oh, here she goes. An LLC serves its purpose. An LLC could be good in certain circumstances, but you alone just starting Whatnot do not need to be an LLC right off the bat. Before you invest the time, the energy, the money, the expense, on all the effort that goes into an LLC, go talk to a CPA, a tax attorney, and a CPA, a tax attorney, and a financial advisor. LLCs are recommended far too often. It is not a necessity and definitely not something to jump into. Simple is better. You're a sole proprietor right off the bat. Start as that and then grow appropriately. If you want more on LLCs, I've done shows on YouTube that go in depth on LLCs, and you can hear a ton of reasons why you should and shouldn't. Okay. So ownership isn't enough. Usage is what qualifies the deductibility of any equipment. So when we talk equipment, it is lighting, phones, backdrops, furniture, computers, cameras, microphones, shelving to keep your inventory on. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just like a very quick hit list. Big equipment, okay? These support your income production and they qualify for business use. What doesn't qualify? So let's imagine this. We have an LLC because I'm in business with my sisters. So that, and a case like that would make sense because then you want to allocate being in business with other people that are not on your tax return. An LLC allows you to allocate income and expenses appropriately among business partners. That's a very legitimate reason to have an LLC. But if you're just you on your own, all the income's coming to you, there's no tax benefits, there's nothing else going on there, you don't own other assets, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Okay, I have my cell phone I use for Whatnot. I'm going to say I have this plan. I'm not going to go buy a separate plan to get my kid a cell phone. So I put my kid on my business plan or the plan that I use for, I have my cell phone plan. Just because my cell phone is business use doesn't make my teenager's cell phone a business asset. Yes, it's all under me, the business owner's name, but it doesn't make that an asset. I'm in my studio. I have a TV. I have my gym right behind the studio, and I have a TV up on the wall in my gym. Did I buy that TV? Sure did. Do I own my business? Sure do. Do I use that TV in my business? No. So just because my TV identifies as a business item doesn't mean that it qualifies as a business item, if that makes any sense. It doesn't matter that you bought it. You have to use it in the business for it to be deductible in the business. And the reason I'm really drilling down on this is because this is one of those bad pieces of advice. But if you use it for your business, you can. Absolutely. It's the usage of that item that qualifies it as a business deduction, particularly for equipment. I hear this all the time as bad advice. It's a business deduction. It's like it's free money. Well, I can just deduct this. I'll just buy it on the business. Just buy it under the business. You know what? I don't like this flooring. I'm going to refloor my whole basement. I put my studio in here. We'll just call that a business expense. You can't do that. And this is probably that and the LLC and a couple other things that I hear most often as being misinformation. Okay? You deduct usage, not identity. If I use my phone for personal use, If I use my phone for personal use too, how can I count among business? We're going to get to that. So we're going to talk about just hang out. That is like partial use. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Yep, it's a % write-off. Exactly. Okay. Let's talk cameras, lights, tripods. All of this stuff most often qualifies. When we talk about equipment, so we're talking about the big things, your computers, your lighting, your iPads, your cameras, the shelving. Because if you go and buy shelving to hold your inventory, that stuff's not cheap. You can shell out a good chunk of money on shelving to hold inventory, right? Same thing as your mortgage. You can't write off the entire mortgage if you work from home. You can only write off the rooms used for, yes, exactly.
If you're buying any electronic assets from the bin, do me a favor, send us a DM with your email address so we can send them to you as soon as possible.
All right. So this is where we're going to get a little technical on it, okay? The IRS says there's 3 ways that you can deduct business equipment, okay? We've already established something you use in your business that's equipment. There's 3 ways to deduct this. I'm going to go through each way and tell you what they are. We're going to start with as depreciable property. So the IRS says you can deduct this as depreciable property. I'm going to explain what that means. Mary Lack, it is your lucky day. Go buy a lottery ticket, girl.
Congratulations.
Okay, depreciable property. This is property that has a lifespan of greater than a year. So if you buy something that you expect to last longer than a year, that's the first thing you look at as depreciable property. Cameras, and the IRS has tables where they give guidelines. So a computer is expected to have a lifespan or life expectancy of 3 to 5 years. A vehicle is 5 to 7 years. A house is like 27 to 30 years. So the IRS has guidelines on the average lifespan of varying types of equipment. Shelving is probably upwards of 7 to 10 years, because you're not going to go replacing shelving every 3 years. Normally, you could probably get a good 7 to 10 years out of its use, right? So depreciable property, first of all, we need to define the lifespan of it. And if it's over a year, we're going to start thinking, okay, I'm not going to just expense this. I don't just get to take my $3,000 computer and say that's a business expense. I'm going to need to depreciate this item. So the first thing you look at is the lifespan. If it's greater than a year, your mind's automatically going to, it's a depreciable asset. Then you look at how much did it cost. Every business, including us as Whatnot business owners, like fencing on a ranch, exactly. Every business has to have a policy on what dollar threshold do they look at for depreciable property. Normally, for businesses that are small Whatnot businesses, you're looking at around $1,000, $1,500. There is no set right dollar limit. Now, if you go extremely high, if you say, okay, I'm only going to depreciate anything over $10,000, but you realistically in your business would never buy something over $10,000, that's not a realistic, there's no consistency in the application of that. And that's one of the things the IRS will frown on. So you set, as a business owner, you set a reasonable threshold. So for me, I would say, okay, anything over $2,000 and that it has a life of over a year is going to be a depreciable asset in my business. Now, the IRS has a safe harbor, $2,500. If you can't figure it out, use $2,500. That's the IRS's safe harbor number. You're not going to go wrong with that. You're not going to get your hand slapped with $2,500. Okay. So if you're like, I don't know, this is too much thought, I have no idea what number to pick 2,500 and go with that, because then you know at least you're safe. Okay. So what are we doing? We buy a piece of equipment. I buy a $3,000 computer. My mind says, is it going to last more than a year? Yep. Okay. And did I pay more than $2,500 for it? Yep. Okay. It's a depreciable asset. So what does that mean? That means that I don't take $3,000 of expense and I get all of that expense this year. That means I'm going to take a piece of that expense every year of its life of that item. I expect my computer to last for 3 years. I spent $3,000. That means this year I get $1,000 of expense. Next year I get $1,000 of expense. And the final year I get that last $1,000 of expense on my books. Make sense? Okay. We're going to keep going on. So that's depreciable. Now, if I say I bought a new computer and let's just say I spent $1,000. I kind of went basic. I didn't need bells and whistles. I bought $1,000 computer. Is it going to last more than a year? Yeah, it will. Did I spend more than $2,500? No, I didn't. Now it's not depreciable property. Now it's an expense. That whole $1,000 just goes on my books right away. It's an expense. It's not depreciable. So when you're looking at the IRS, you've got to look at those two different ways, because it can make a huge difference in how much that item is tax deductible. People will tend to say, oh, I'm going to go buy this $5,000 thing because it's a tax write-off. It may be depreciable property, and you're not going to get the full $5,000 this year. So you really do need to understand the difference between those two items. It may be your connection. Does anyone have sound issues? Oh, that's you talking to somebody. Okay, thank you. So that's a difference between depreciable property or a current expense. The third way, and I'm not going to dig into it because there's so many nuances to this, but I want you to be aware of this terminology for when you speak to your tax accountant or your CPA or whoever you're working with. The third way is called Section 179. You may hear this term thrown around, oh, just Section 179 it, okay? This means if you have a depreciable asset, you have that $3,000 computer that you're only supposed to take $1,000 each year. If you Section 179 it, that means I'm going to use, I love discounts. You got that giveaway. Congratulations. That means you're going to use the Section 179 as a special treatment to take the full expense in 1 year. There's a lot of nuances, a lot of rules around that. This is where tax planning comes into play. This is where you want to work with somebody knowledgeable, particularly in those first year or two, and you're buying equipment or years of growth where you're buying equipment, because it can highly affect what your taxable income is. So my laptop is from 2020. I need to get a new one. Hold on, we're going to go back up. Fabulous Find says, so how do you itemize that? If it's depreciable, and not forget to write it off the following years, because it's on your tax return. So there is a schedule on your tax return that you list these items out. And you list them by category. So you would be electronic equipment, real property, furniture and fixtures. So you list it by equipment type. Then you, as a business owner, and this is part of a bookkeeping that we haven't talked about a lot, should be keeping what's called a fixed assets list. Your equipment is a fixed asset. Depreciable equipment in accounting talk is called a fixed asset. It is something that's fixed, something that's tangible, and it's an asset, something you own. You should be keeping a fixed asset list. We're going to talk about the things you need on that list, on the pieces of information that you need to keep. So you keep that, you take that to your accountant, and then they allocate it appropriately on your taxes. Or you do if you're doing your own tax return. Okay?
Stacy, since your computer is more than 5 years old now, you could get another one and use it as an expense. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to.
Exactly.
It all depends on what is it that you're using the computer for. If you're using the computer just to run a couple Excels and it still works, and you don't have to have that expense, then you don't need to.
Then don't spend the money.
Exactly. But if you say, well, you know what, now I want to get into do graphics and OBS and the computer's too old and it doesn't run the software, then you absolutely need to have another one, a little bit newer, that can support whatever it is that your business is going to do. And that's when you say, well, I can justify it.
Jennifer, thank you so much. We do Business and Tax every Friday, so please come back and see us. We're also on YouTube, and everything we do is broadcast to YouTube, so you can always go back and watch. Okay, so the other thing I just want to add on to Stacy's question about your laptops from 2020, you need to get a new one. You only buy a new one when you want to, or there is a need there for the business. What happens if you bought that $3,000 computer and in year one you took $1,000 expense, year two you took $1,000, year three? Well, year 4 and 5, you can still use your computer. If it's still working, go for it. There's just no expense on your tax return that's reducing your income at that point, because you took the expense over the expected life, all right? The expected life is just what you think it's going to last for, and it's a standard you apply. So when you start to apply the standard, you're going to say, well, computers last 3 to 5 years. So that means you buy a computer now, the next computer, you're going to do the same thing. What the IRS is saying is Bob can't get a computer and say his computer is going to last for 10 years because he doesn't need that much expense and he wants to spread that expense over 10 years. But Sally's going to get a computer and say 3 years because she wants it all in the first 3 years. They set a range that we follow by the IRS so that everybody, all businesses, are treating the same type of equipment in the same manner. They give us a little leeway, so computers are 3 to 5 years. They let us pick what do we think it's going to be, but we can't go 10 years, 20 years on something that's not going to last. I have a life expectancy like that. So did you want to say, go ahead, I see you leaning in.
A fabulous find. I don't like PCs to run things. No, a lot of people use PCs and Windows computers. Windows is very clunky. I use Macintosh, and the Mac Mini. There was a sale going on last year on Black Friday. They had it for less than $500, and that's when I bought the Mac Mini. And the Mac Mini has been amazing. It's a monster to run different graphics and stuff.
We're going to talk about too, I think my last point tonight is when you should buy equipment. We're going to talk about that. Thank you so much, Ranchan Finds. Okay, so when we talk about equipment, and we just talked about a fixed asset list, like you should be keeping track of this depreciable equipment, there's a few terms that you want to track and you need to understand what that terminology is. One, depreciation. We talked about that. We just talked about that's your allocation of the expense over the life of that item. The date placed in service. This is something that you need to track in your listing, in your records. When did you place it in service? There's 2 dates. You can buy a computer, for example, you bought your $3,000 computer on August 1st, but you needed to, take it out of the box, install software, set it up. You needed to get it ready to use. So let's say you have a life, you never finish getting it ready till September 1st. So you bought it August 1st, but you didn't start using it until September 1st. September 1st is the date you placed it in service, the date you begin using it. Does it come with a certificate from Cabbage Patch? So it's the date that you begin using it. That's the date that you start to depreciate it. So the date placed in service. You can buy something on January 2nd and not use it until October 15th. You don't depreciate it from January 2nd. You depreciate it starting October 15th, the date you place it in service. So you need to understand what depreciation is. Good morning. You need to understand the date placed in service, that it's an asset. When I say fixed assets, assets are things your business owns, okay? Monday night, we're going to do ledger to leadership, and we're only going to be talking about assets. It's one of the basic terminology in accounting. And then the useful life or the life expectancy, which we've kind of talked about. The IRS requires you to track those. They require for your records that you have the date placed in service, the type of asset that it is, and its useful life. And of course, how much it costs. But you have to have, those are things the IRS actually lists in their requirements that you need to maintain and keep track of. You did depreciation once. It was crazy. I was given an option to take it all at once, and I did. Now I get it. Thanks, 5 years. Yes, so the option that you were given, that was that section 179 that I was talking about. Your accountants may come to you, your CPAs may come to you and say, hey, we can just section 179 this. That means that you could take those depreciable assets and write them all off at one time. Like anything else with tax, sometimes there's reasons to do that. There's other times reasons that doesn't make sense. You want to ask the questions, can you explain this to me? How does that make sense now? How is this taking it all right now better than going normal depreciation and spreading it over a number of years? Think about it like this. If you're brand new in business, okay, maybe first, second, or third year, and you're growing, you're in that stage of establishing yourself and growing. During that time, you're probably buying equipment because you're trying to get up to speed, right? But are you making a lot of money? These are the formative years of your business are probably your lowest income years. So do you want to take all this expense in your low income years? Or do you want to save some of that expense and spread it out because 2 years down the road, I'm going to be rocking and rolling and bringing in that money, and I'm going to need some more expense to offset my income in the future, okay? That's tax planning. This is where somebody who's versed in this could start to look and say, all right, we have some different scenarios here and different ways we can apply the tax code. It's not loopholes. It's not unethical. It's legitimate strategy that's allowed within the IRS regulations. Okay? And I don't want to go too deep because I do try to keep this kind of high level and very conversational so everybody feels that they understand and can follow along. Makes sense. I did find things to set all the time. Yep. Legal strategies, tax strategy, there's something to it. It's why tax people go to school and why we become CPAs is to learn these strategies. Okay, partial business use. Somebody asked earlier about this. Partial business use may mean partial deduction. So if equipment is partially used as business and partially used for personal, you can never take the personal side, but you can take a piece of the business side. You deduct a certain percent. Somebody put that in the chat earlier. They were 100% correct. You can deduct the business percent. So your iPhone, maybe you use your phone 65% of the time for business, the rest of it's personal. You can take 65% of that expense as a business expense, as a depreciable item, as a deduction, right? We go through, we have to do that flow chart in our head. Is it depreciable? Is it an expense? We figure out what it is and we apply our percentage to that. The IRS expects, this is an expectation specifically called out by the IRS, reasonable allocation. That means you cannot have a cell phone that you occasionally, maybe once a week, scroll through some whatnot shows and call it a business phone. You can't, or call it, oh, I use that 90% for business. Really? You talk to your best buddy for 3 hours every day on the phone, you call your kid's school, and for 10 minutes a week, you scroll through whatnot, and you're going to tell me 90% of that's business? Reasonable allocation, honesty. Do the good thing to do the good thing, right? Be honest about your allocation. There is no formula and no method to determine that allocation. You have to figure that out. You can figure that out by, if you're talking about your cell phone use or cameras or computers. Okay, how often do I use it for business? What else am I doing? And then when you figure this out, when you think through that and you come up with an honest assessment, you need to document that. Write it down. How did you come up with that number? How did you say figure is 50% or 65%? My husband has a motorcycle custom shop. We were told his business can rent his tools to the business. We were told, I haven't done it, but I've been doing the percent. You can, but if the business is renting tools from you as personal, then your personal becomes a business renting in the business of renting out tools. So you get a deduction on one, but an income on the other. You can't have it just one way. So yes, you can rent from a personal person. Your husband, as you with him, rent the business can rent those tools, but you got to take it on your taxes both sides. You can't just take the good side and not the bad side of it. So it kind of washes itself out. Now there's examples with that, taking that renting to a higher level of property, and there are some strategies within property that works very well with. Yes, use the percentage. So we talked about how to allocate, reasonable allocation, whatever your rationale is. Jennifer, I don't offer consults that I charge for. If you have some specific questions, you just need help thinking through something, send me a DM. I'm always happy to set up some time to talk to somebody, but I don't do like official tax consults, but I'd be happy to talk through something with you to help you kind of think through it. So just send me a DM and we can set something up. So you have to document it. The IRS expects you to document it and then revisit your documentation every year. Just because when you got that iPhone, you said that you were using it 75% of the time for business, doesn't mean a year down the road you don't buy another phone and now your use is still 75%. Maybe the use on that one has dropped down. So you need to revisit this every single year. You need to look at what your allocations are and ask yourself, are these still reasonable allocations? And if not, then document why you changed it and go forward. Because if you are ever audited, I can guarantee you, thank you so much. That was so sweet, Jennifer. I appreciate that. I can guarantee you the IRS will ask for your rationale on how did you come up with those percentages, particularly for split use items when you're doing part business, part personal, because this is such an easy way to deceive the IRS. This is one of the ways that people commit fraud constantly. So doing what's right and doing it honestly and documenting it is protection for yourself on that. Hey, no, I spent some time to think this through and I really feel that this is the appropriate manner and this is why I think it's appropriate. It only protects you if you ever were to get audited. Now, I'm not one to say do things out of fear, but this isn't fear. This is just smart business documentation. The next one, documentation matters more than the cost. Here we go. I just talked about documentation. I'm a one step ahead of myself. Documentation matters more than what it costs. Remember at the beginning, I said, for your depreciable items, you can set that policy. You can say everything over 500 is depreciable, everything over 1,000. The IRS has their safe harbor of around 2,500. The IRS isn't so hung up on cost. They're hung up on how are you documenting this. It's all about the substantiation of what you're doing. So you have to have your receipt. And then they say, the IRS specifically says in its regulation, like it calls it out word for word, says you have to have a business use log or method to allocate. That applies to your phones, to your computers, to anything, any fixed asset, any depreciable property. You have to have a log of some sort on how you came up with the use of this, okay? The date placed in service. You have to have the date placed in service. And you have to be consistent in your reporting. Now, consistent doesn't mean the exact same percentage year over year, because I just told you you need to reevaluate your use. But consistent means I'm showing in my documentation where I reevaluated my use and where I agreed that, yes, it's the same percentage as last year, or no, I'm changing it because of this reason, okay? I'm not making this up. I'm not saying this just because I'm a CPA to say, keep your documentation. These are things the IRS says. If you have depreciable assets, you need to be maintaining these records as a business owner. There you go. How Apple tells you how much time you spend on each app. That is a great way to go and figure out how much business use am I really using, because you can tell how much use you're using on, your dating site versus whatnot, right? Okay, what's personal versus what's business. Hopefully, you're not doing your business on the dating site. Okay, final point on tax. When we're looking at our fixed assets, when we're looking at whatnot, it could be. I saw somebody streaming from a wedding the other day. It was two whatnot people got married, and somebody was streaming from there. It could be a business. It could be a learning experience after it. That's for sure. Okay, think longevity, not impulse buying. Somebody asked earlier. We were talking about when we should buy fixed assets, when we should buy this type of equipment. It's like you're just spending business money, right? But you want to think longevity, not impulse buying. It's so easy to be swayed into buying that next fun piece. Oh, this laptop's going to really help me out. I want to buy this cool laptop. Or, oh, look at the features on this camera. I want to go buy this camera. Or I have a microphone, but this microphone would be so much better. It's so easy to get swayed into that, because not only are we just like, we want it because it looks fun and cool, it's the next best gadget, we're starting to say, oh, it's a business. It's for business. I'm going to use it for my business. I can write it off. So in our minds, yes, I love discounts. In our minds, it becomes, tax-free, right?
No, I love discounts. I just buy toys.
See, I'm speaking from experience. My husband loves the next cool gadget. He loves the next cool gadget. So you really want to think through those purchases. This is an area where it's really simple to talk yourself into a high cost purchase because you think it's free money from the business, right? There is no such thing as free money. Because it's deductible does not mean free money. Deductible means you're reducing your taxable income by a percentage, not dollar for dollar, all right? You're reducing your taxable income. What you should be asking is get the whole tax thing out of your mind. Will this increase my ROI? What am I going to get from this? How is this going to help my business? Will this improve my buyer's experience? If I get better lighting, does that improve my buyer's experience? It may, right? Will this reduce? Yes, my love. Oh, giveaway's going. He's trying to get my attention for the giveaway. Mary Lack. Oh my gosh, Mary. Like, seriously, you're lucky day.
Congratulations.
100%. Does he have the base mini or the upgrade? What do you have, honey?
We have two base minis, and they work really well. They are very powerful right off the box. The only thing with the minis is that you only get the computer and the power cord. So you need a screen, a mouse, and a keyboard in order for them to be able to be a full-fledged computer. But right off the bat, they're really powerful, and you can't go wrong with them. It's rare that they fail.
Okay, so you want to start thinking, will this improve my buyer's experience?
Return of investment. That's
Yes,
ROI.
ROI. Return of investment. Will this increase my return on investment? What am I going to get out of this purchase? Besides the pure joy of a new gadget, what is that gadget giving your business? What is it pouring back into your business? So these are the type of things that produce ROI. Is this going to improve my buyer's experience? If my buyer has a better experience, they spend more money. That's ROI. That's money coming back into my business. So is this new asset, this new equipment that you want to buy going to improve your buyer's experience? Is it going to reduce returns? You're like, well, how is something going to reduce a return? If you have a more clear picture, better lighting, the customer sees the product in a better manner, they know what they're buying, more confident in what they're buying, it reduces returns. So you want to start thinking in that manner of how is this piece of equipment that I want to buy going to help my business, help the bottom line in my business? Will this justify higher pricing? If you buy more backdrops, if you have a beautiful setup, do you think that justifies higher pricing? The answers for these are going to vary widely. As many people who are considering this, you're going to have all different answers. I'm just giving you some examples of things that you may want to think through before just shelling out a bunch of money on equipment because it's the next cool gadget and you think you could deduct it, right? Will this improve efficiency in systems? Does buying that bubble wrap machine improve my shipping? Does that help my shipping system? Does it make me more efficient by having the upgraded bubble wrap machine? Okay. Will this improve consistency? Is it something that I can buy that helps with my consistency in my shows? Maybe I'm buying a teleprompter. Maybe I am buying a big screen TV because I can't see the little print and can't engage with my chat, and I come off as being standoffish or not consistent in my engagement. Okay, so these are just a few of those questions before you just jump into making such a big purchase. And you need to think it through. This is even before you start thinking about the tax deductibility of it. And I know you're like, well, this doesn't really apply to tax. It does, because you want to make these big purchases. What are they going to do for your business? Because we talked about it, the difference of it being depreciable versus an expense. You may be looking at a $5,000, camera or big screen TV. Doesn't mean that's a $5,000 expense. And people so tend to think, oh, well, I'll just write it off. Well, it might not be a write-off. And then it turns out, okay, well, it's not an immediate write-off and I'm not getting any money back. Did that just even serve a good purpose or not? So it kind of all ties together in how you need to think it through. Noel, is there a way to not have a lag time when I screen share to my TV?
On the screen share, if you do it wirelessly, it will have a lag time. But what you want to achieve is, let's say, for example, you have your phone and you want to replicate what your phone is showing you on the bigger screen. There are HDMI adapters for the phones that you can connect to the TV, and that would be real time because it's a wired connection. But keep in mind that if you do that, you would need a power source to be able to power your phone for the duration. That way you don't drain the battery. So you can have it connected directly to the HDMI on the TV and you won't have any lagging.
He does need to do a tech show. Yes, we're still trying to talk him into that. All right, so what I want to really get through is, are you building infrastructure here? So infrastructure for your revenue producing workspace. We need to change our mindset. We're not just in our bedroom, click and go live on a Whatnot show. We are business owners. The equipment we buy is the infrastructure for our revenue producing workspaces. It is bigger than what we think of it. It's not just collecting the next cool gadget. It's not like that TV that's going to sit in your family room or the camera you're just going to take on vacation. These are all things that you use in a revenue producing business. So that's how we need to look at it and structure it. And it's a different mindset. Sunshine Vintage, congratulations, you got that giveaway.
Congratulations.
It's a very different mindset when it comes to business purchases than it is for a personal, right? Personal, we buy on wants, on desires, on things that, are nostalgic. For business, it's about the bottom line. It's about the buyer experience. It's about improving efficiencies and systems. It's a completely different mindset when we're buying something for a business than when we're buying it for personal use. Then you start thinking about the taxability of it, right? And what taxes you can deduct. Okay, that's kind of wraps up all of that. If there's any questions on equipment, let me know. I'm always happy to answer them. But I just kind of want to go back and touch on, bring this full circle. We started off today talking about confidence and how confidence on camera, on your lives is a business skill. Okay. It doesn't mean ego. It doesn't mean puffing yourself up. It means showing up and owning it because you deserve a seat at that table. You deserve to be there. You know who you are. You know what you bring. Own it. You know your products. You know your prices. You know the preparation you put into this. Show up and own it. That's going to come across on the screen. And it's not coming across in an egotistical manner. It's coming across as confidence. You know what you're doing, and your buyers are going to feel that. They're going to be drawn into that. You bring that with your true, authentic self, there's no stopping you. There is no stopping you. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. People ask all the time, newbies ask all the time, how do I get... Kat, well, I'm so glad that you found me. Newbies ask all the time, how do I get people in my room? Or how do I get them to stay in my room? They come in and they just leave. Why? Are you confident? Are you owning it? Are you bringing you that true authenticity to your show? Because there is not another person like you. This is what makes you unique. There are a ton of vintage sellers. There's a ton of t-shirt and clothing sellers. Why should they be in your room? Show them. Show them. You have something unique to bring to them. Don't hide it. Show up confidently in who you are. All right. So that was point one. The second one is invest in your infrastructure. Invest smartly in your infrastructure in business. Thank you for your purchase from the bin. If you're buying PDFs, make sure you DM your email address so we can get that out to you right away. So when you invest in things like your lighting, your setup, your studio, that's not vanity. Don't think you're buying it from vanity. You're investing in your infrastructure in your business, and think about it like that. You can be vain and buy vanity stuff for your own home all day long. It's a different mindset when it comes to business. So you're not just going live. You are operating a revenue producing studio. I want you to change your thinking about your spare bedroom, your dining room table, your garage. This is a revenue producing workspace. Treat it that way. Own it. That's going to help build your confidence. I'm walking into my revenue producing. This is a spot that makes me money. And come live like that. Come live with that attitude. All right. We always close before we do our CEO affirmation. That's all I have today. If there's any final questions, we have about a minute and a half before that giveaway polls. So always happy to answer last minute questions. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I cannot tell you how much it means that at 7 a.m., there are a bunch of you in this room hanging out. My shows are usually about 2 hours. I've been going a little bit long lately, but I start at 7 and I try to end around 9:15 at the latest. Confidence makes you more money. That is right. Walk in and own that space. Exactly. If you missed the show and you want to watch it, they are always on YouTube. Yes, I'm about to talk about that, Monster Mama. I put a backdrop behind my sewing pattern spot, and next week, oh, there you go. See? You're building up your infrastructure. I love it. I love it.
Hotel lobby, usually about an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most.
All right, a couple quick things before this giveaway polls. Tomorrow morning, I am conducting the What's in Your Mug Ray Train. We have 12 amazing sellers. If you're selling on that tomorrow, throw your emojis in the chat. Let people know you're going to be on the train. Don't miss that. Monday, you guys. Thank you so much, Sunshine. Monday is the kickoff of Ledger to Leadership. I am going to teach a 12-week accounting course free here on Whatnot. It's going to take you from the very beginning of assets, the accounting equation, all the way through how to create financials and what in the heck do you do with them once you create them, right? That's what's in your mug. That's the logo to look for tomorrow. My Ledger to Leadership on Monday nights is going to be about an hour. I may do an hour and 10 minutes. We'll see where we're at, but I'm really aiming for an hour show. I do have a limited time because I dropped my daughter off at cheer, come back, do the show, and I got to pick her up. So kind of time restricted. That starts Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. You do not have to buy the book. Okay, Kat Daniels, you got that giveaway. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You do not have to buy the book. We have a book and a PDF that does go along with the class. It is not necessary. It is helpful. It is good. You'll get a lot out of it. I wrote this book myself, 158 pages, well worth every penny that would be spent on it. However, you can show up with a pen and paper and learn. And if that time doesn't work for you, it is going to be on YouTube. So if you're like, hey, but I just can't commit, just come once or twice, and you can always go to YouTube and watch it. I will continue to sell these books and the PDFs throughout the course, so you can start it and evaluate for yourself if you want to spend money or not. But the courses, the Ledger to Leadership is absolutely free. So I hope to see you guys there on Monday night. With that, thank you so much. I appreciate that. With that, we're going to go ahead and raid. Everybody have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Oh, hold on. Don't do it. Wait, don't leave. I forgot my CEO affirmation. There we go. Unprepared. I always end with the CEO affirmation, but I got talking. So our week 9.
6:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, 6:30 Eastern. Week 9 CEO affirmation. I know my numbers, clear records, remove fear, and replace it with control. So I know my numbers, clear records, remove fear, and replace it with control. With that thought, we're going to go raid. I'm going to raid into whoever I see. I do not know who I'm going to raid. We're going to go into...
Thanks for joining us.
I guess we're going to go see
Have
what
a
Liz likes.
wonderful rest of your day.
She does another chat show, and I like her chat show. She may be selling today, though. I don't know. We'll see.